What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the politics and BS. I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute, but I'm just going to share my thoughts real quick on this and would love to know what you think. With all of these people who are calling for Biden to step down, step aside, we need another candidate. And even the people that are saying this, for the most part, they're not saying Kamala Harris needs to step in and step up. Because let's just be honest, a lot of those people, even Democrats, they don't want to see her be the president. One, because she is a woman, but two, because she is not white. Let's just be honest. And so the possibility of Biden having an episode where he may lose his life while being in office and then she being the second in command to take over, oh my God, they cannot see that happening. But it is so hypocritical because when it comes to the Republicans, they can do whatever, whenever, and however, and they will roll with these people until the wheels fall off. You will not hear about them asking another Republican to step down, to step aside, to move along. We need somebody else. For a moment, when Trump was running for president the first time and those Hollywood Access tapes came out, or Access Hollywood, or whatever the freaking show was, where the tapes came out where he was talking to Billy Bush and he was saying, you know, when you're rich and you're a celebrity, you can do whatever you want. You can grab them by the PUSSY. For a moment, literally a moment, some of them, not all, some of them were calling for him to drop out. But the majority of them, they were just silent. But then a few days go by and they just business as usual, moving along. And now so much more has been done. So much more has been said. So much more he has been found guilty of, okay? Criminal and civil. And they're not calling for him to step aside, move along, step down. We need to move forward and move away from you. This man is running for president for the third time. Like, it's annoying, it's tiring, it's nauseating, but they're not calling for him to step aside. And Strom Thurmond, this man, he was a senator, one of the most racist people, okay? He was a senator for the state of South Carolina. He was nearly dead, and they were rolling him up into the meetings, the sessions, whatever they were, for votes, and he was nearly dead. It is said that Ronald Reagan, during his second term, he was pretty much just there, but other people were pretty much running the show because of his health. Joe Biden, he's not perfect. I'm not saying that he's the greatest thing. I'm not saying that I'm in love with him. I absolutely am not. But I think that people really need to remember that a vote for Joe Biden isn't really always a vote for Joe Biden. It's just a vote against this person that I feel people really need to move on from. And they're just forgetting a lot of the different things that has been said and done that were not great. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm saying all of these things to say, for the most part, they don't want to see Kamala Harris wind up being in the presidency, okay? They don't want to see that on both sides. It's not just Republicans. It's Democrats as well. It's just the God's honest truth. But when it comes to the Republicans, like I said, they could be nearly dead and they will not ask them to step down. They will not ask them to move along, step aside. We need to move forward. We need something fresher, younger, newer, more energetic, right? Are we forgetting last year, around this time, last year, when Mitch McConnell, he is the Republican minority leader, or maybe it's majority leader. I don't know what it is at this point. But either way, he froze. He froze up. Yeah, he's the Senate minority leader. And I didn't hear any of them calling for him to step down and step aside.
To finishing the NDA, this week. Been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your press? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Okay.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take that. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
So this is we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the IRA. And, of course...
So what I just played, that was a clip from Mitch McConnell standing at the podium speaking, and he just froze up. And the people that were standing surrounding him, besides him, they're just rubbing his arm. Are you okay? I didn't hear any of those people coming out saying, you know what, we need a new minority leader. This man is still there after that happened. Joe Biden had a bad night when he should have been in bed. The debate should have been held at 5 or 6 o'clock, not 8 or 9 o'clock. Hell, I'm not even close to his age, and I don't want to be up that time of night and doing something like that. That's a lot of pressure. It's not something that I feel a lot of people take into account. They're just saying, oh, he's 81. He really needs to drop out of this race. But Mitch McConnell could freeze up in the broad daylight. I think that what happened maybe around noon or 1 o'clock. It could have even been earlier. But none of them asked him to step down. And he's still there. But Joe Biden can't be the president. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. But again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that she's a minority who is the vice president. And if something were to happen to him while he was in office, she would be the next in command. And they do not want that. If Joe Biden's vice president was a white man, I don't really think that a lot of them would be given a lot of the heat that they're giving, because that's the whole point of having a vice president in the first place. Because a lot of people say, well, what is she doing? What did the others do? What did Mike Pence do? What did Joe Biden do? He was the vice president. What did Dick Cheney do? You know? Well, actually, a lot of people say Dick Cheney was doing a whole lot more than even George Bush was doing. But I digress. I just think that there's a lot of hypocrisy, but it's politics. It's politics and BS. It's not surprising, but I do believe that a lot of it has to do with who his vice president is, and they just don't want to see this woman get in office. Possibly something happened to Joe Biden, possibly expanding to the Supreme Court, getting a few more people on there. Alito or Clarence Thomas may die. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of damage has been done by those people that are in the Supreme Court, along with the previous president, that the current president had to come in and do a lot of fixing and whatever. And it's just so hypocritical, because when Obama was elected the first time, he came into a mess. We had the housing market crash, the great crash, where he had to come in, the bank failures, all of those different things were going on. Those are just a few of the things that were happening. Obama came into an absolute mess. I'm not here to say that he was the best president. Definitely, I'm not saying that. He left a lot to be desired as well. But again, he came into a mess, and a lot of things were fixed on his 8-year watch, where Trump came in, stepped in, took credit for a lot of the good that was done by the previous president, and then not taking credit for all the horrible things that happened on his watch. And if you all recall, when the C word happened in 2020, he was not taking credit for any of it. And I'm not saying that he had to say that it was his fault that the pandemic happened, but he didn't want to take credit for anything bad that was happening. I take no responsibility for it. Like, that's what he said. So honestly, a lot of this has to do with who his vice president is and the fact that the others can have these brain freezes, these body freezes, these speech freezes like Mitch McConnell, and he could still be in office and still be serving as Senate Minority Leader, but Joe Biden can't be the president, I think is absolute insanity. And the other thing, too, is I could play a laundry list of the slurs and the misspeaking and all of the different things that Trump has messed up on. Nobody's talking about that because, again, it goes back to what I was saying about the mainstream media. It is in their best interest, the CEOs and the owners of these mainstream media organizations, for Trump to be the president because it's more beneficial for them on the front end as well as on the back end. So they're not going to play a lot of those things. You have to go and search for them. Hell, Trump, in a deposition, he pointed out the woman that sued him for assault as his wife at the time, Marla Maples, when that indeed was his victim. He didn't even know who his wife was. And that was years ago. He's 78. He's not 45. He was the 45th president. He's not 45 years old. So I digress. Like I said, I feel like a lot of this has to do with Kamala Harris being the vice president and people on both sides of the spectrum not wanting to see her possibly fill the shoes of the president were something to happen to him while he was serving. Period. So you can let me know your thoughts. Thanks for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.